Have fun. Goodbye.
I'll come back to fucking movie. Fucking bro.
Okay,
Where
guys.
I'm Jacob. Hold on. Shh. Where I am Jacob, and that you know who that is. That's idiot. That's he's always idiot. He's been idiot. I don't know
And
how to feel
that's
about
Magic
that really.
Mike.
Yeah, but who are you?
I'm Ray, and that's Magic Mike.
Now, why do you call it Magic Mike? What's the importance? Does it do a strip dance for you? Is that what you're into, Mike's?
Jake.
Sorry. We can get started. Okay, a few spiels. Okay, let's get through those. If you want to listen to us on audio, we're funny. You should. Or you can do the video, I guess, if you want. That's fine. It's not really a big deal.
Guys, we are on Spotify, Apple Music, wherever you want to find us. You'll see us there. Make sure to subscribe to the channel to get audio commentaries and movie commentaries where we talk about all movies and all that fun stuff. Here we are with our first discussion.
We're actually in the second discussion for July. I don't know why I kept saying first. It's a lie. He's lying to you. We're in the second part of July's podcast. These ones we're going to go through some of different more reviews. It really is a review heavy month. And then we have some strike
that I had
updates.
nothing to do with.
And you stayed home. Some strike updates. So you did. And then some Comic-Con and some other shit that we're interested to talk about. And we're just going to go ahead and get started. With Oppenheimer.
Well, that was first.
Yeah, I know I messed up. Okay, don't come at me. These are all non-spoiler reviews because Zachary has personally not seen them, and Zachary might be thinking himself, "I've never seen you talk to me. You can talk spoiler. It's fine. He will. It's fine." So we're going to be talking about Oppenheimer. Yes.
If you don't know what Oppenheimer is, just go look up a biographical dictionary picture on Oppenheimer, and they'll explain the film.
I'll give you a brief little synopsis.
Dissertation.
That was actually the word I was looking for, which was odd that you knew. But either way. So, Oppenheimer is about a guy who creates the nuke. It tells
the atom bomb.
It's a nuke. It's the same thing. It's the same thing.
That'd be correct.
No, it's the same. They kind of have. It's a nuke. Get the fuck over it. So, it tells two different storylines. Him actually creating said nuke, and then him being accused of being a communist. It's essentially what both the storylines are, and the reason why he can't have a career after creating the nuke. Not for blowing up billions of people. No, it's because he's a communist. Yeah, that makes sense, America. Sure, you do you, sweetie. So Oppenheimer was an okay movie. It was not great. It was not bad. It was just fine. I would recommend it to the folks of Ray, specifically Ray. Really, I have not made anybody else in my life that I recommend this movie to. Only Zachary. Only the person I do the podcast with. Ironically, it was not the movie I said to go see in theaters because I don't really think it deserves a theater experience. I know I'm wrong because it's doing pretty well in the box office. Good for it. Honestly,
it also passed Spider-Man.
I'm happy that it's doing well in the box office only for the simple fact that I want more movies like this to be able to be made in the theaters. Not to the extent of like a 16-mile long IMAX reel, but like
600-pound IMAX reel
and 13-mile long. Yeah, but either way, doesn't matter. I don't want that to be a thing, but I want these biopic pics the way they did it in things. I want that to be a thing. Overall, I mean, I really liked the acting. I thought the acting was phenomenal. I personally didn't mind Oppenheimer. I didn't really think he was a dick. A lot of people think he's a dick, though, so maybe I'm a dick, and maybe we just got along. That's fine. It's whatever. I've never seen Emily Blunt play a mean role before, and that was very uncomfortable, and I did not like that experience. I do not recommend it for Emily Blunt. Sorry, sweetie. You did a great job. You'll probably get nominated for a supporting actress role, and you deserve it. But you shouldn't win for it because you deserve to be happy. That's all I got. Florence Pugh is obviously always phenomenal. Her tits are out most of the time, so you got that going for you. The actual building of said bomb, though, some of the most boring shit I've seen all year. I can't get over the fact that I had to sit through quantum physics for an hour and a half. Like a true hour and a half. And I mean, Zachary's going to love the shit out of that. But I just couldn't I was like, what the fuck are you doing to me? So the first 40 minutes, I thought to myself, oh, well, I'm going to see this again because I really loved it. I thought it was phenomenal. I thought the opening was great. And I was like super invested. I thought Cillian Murphy was doing such a phenomenal job. To be fair, he does a great job throughout the entire thing. But most of the beginning is a courtroom drama, and they kind of shuffle in some of his like personal stuff. And the courtroom drama is just so good. Like if the whole movie was a courtroom drama, an hour and a half, straight courtroom, oh my God, that shit.
Shot in IMAX.
That right there would be in my top 10 movies of the year, and I would definitely have seen it again. I would have been praising. I've been telling everybody to go see it, but that's just not the case. No, the case is the fact that half this movie is about making a bomb, which caught Oppenheimer. It makes sense. I guess
Most of the imagery leading up to this film was the bomb going off. So
yeah,
I would hope
that's really interesting because like the actual bomb going off, I keep saying this as reference. Have you ever seen like a film reel kind of like burn up?
Yeah.
Okay, you saw the bomb. It was one of the most lackluster bombs, and they couldn't even get the nuke cloud right. Like, you can't get the mushroom correct, Christopher. You had one job. And a few other things. It is a biop. I'm not going to explain. There's a mystery at its core. Like, there is, like, an overall mystery that I think is really fun, and I don't think it's fully, like, given to you right away. And so you're kind of playing along with it, trying to figure out who did the crime in a way. And things. That's how Robert Downey Jr.'s character kind of gets brought into it in a way and things. And Robert Downey Jr. plays such a fucking asshole. I've never want to punch him more in my life, which was shocking. I've never felt like I was going to punch Robert Downey Jr. And I was like, oh, if I saw you today, punched. But
he's the sweetest man in the world.
Yeah, he seems so kind. I also didn't really like his performance very well, so I wouldn't nominate him. I much preferred like Matt Damon and things. I would like them better for a supporting actor.
Here's my thing when it comes to Matt Damon. I've heard he's just Matt Damon.
Yeah, but when you see the movie, it works so well that you're like, I don't care. You can do what you can do, and you're doing a fucking great job at it. Like,
you're one of the few people I've heard that did not like RDJ in the movie.
I think it's because he is just a despicable human being.
Which means he did it real well.
Yeah, no. Yeah, I mean, he did a good job. And also, like, I can't really talk about why, because I don't want to spoil anything. There's aspects of the story and things that it just didn't rub well. Albert Einstein's in the movie. Obviously not actual Albert Einstein, but they did a really good job getting a lookalike. Like, I was like, oh,
yeah. You know what I thought it was in the trailer? Stanley Tucci.
No, definitely not Stanley Tucci. I can tell you that much. But it was a very good.
Everyone says that's everyone's favorite moment from the movie is his scene.
Yeah, I can't talk anything about it, but it's important. Do pay attention. It's part of the more fascinating aspects of the movie. I just really like when it got to the actual building of the bomb and they're stuck in the town and stuff. I just got really bored, and I thought to myself, okay, this movie has how much? Okay, it has this much long. That's great. Can I sit here for that long? That's the real question.
I think the perfect way to think about it is how you thought about Killers of the Flower Moon in the last podcast. How you were more invested in that trailer for that 3 hour, 30-minute long movie.
Yeah. That's a really good point. That overall, but then again, that has, I don't want to say action because people are dying, but you understand what I mean.
Yeah.
There's a little bit more going on, and Oppenheimer is a straight drama. It's just people talking to the camera, which once again, he's going to eat it up. He's probably going to, it will be in his top 5 movies of the year. I have a very strong feeling. I still don't think he's going to look at me and being like, I can't believe you told me not to go see this in theaters. I don't think it's going to be like one of your favorite movies of all time or anything like that. And it's definitely not the best Christopher Nolan movie. Actually, I think his directing here is the worst I've ever seen.
Mm-hmm.
So like that's also another reason why I didn't really recommend it. And I got to talk about 2 things. One of them you could count as a spoiler, but it has to deal with real life events. So I'm not counting as a spoiler in my personal opinion. It has nothing to do with the actual story. It has to do with the bomb itself. And the other thing is the black and white scenes. So a great example of black and white scenes used beautifully well done, has meaning. You can either go with Wizard of Oz, like the original movie that brought things to color. That had meaning. It had, there was like,
It's beautiful still to this day when
yeah,
the
it had weight to
transition
it,
happens.
I just reacted to Mastro. How do you pronounce that name?
Maestro.
I just reacted to that, and there's one particular shot where the doors open and color floods into the black and white. I don't know if you've seen the trailer or not for that one
I have
yet.
not watched the trailer yet for Maestro.
Okay, well, it's very quick or whatever. My face lights up like a Christmas tree, and I say in the trailer reaction, that's what Oppenheimer should have done, because in my opinion, you don't understand that the weight of it until like the last like 4 minutes of the movie, and there is no weight because it's the last 4 minutes of the movie. You don't understand exactly why it is in black and white until the very end. It could have weight on repeat viewing. I don't know that. Obviously, I've never seen the movie twice, so it might be better in that regard. But it's supposed to show different time events. But because none of the time events are listed to you, like you have no idea where you're at in the timeline in those events for reasons. I mean, there are reasons why it's done the way it is. It just had zero weight to me, and it didn't really add anything to the film, except for Christopher Nolan trying to be extra, I guess is the best way. I much prefer things like if you watch the trailer for that movie, things like that, where it feels like this is important. There's a reason why we decided to do it, in both color and in black and white and things. And that's based on a trailer. I mean, I don't know if the movie's that way, but the trailer, really gave it across. And then the other thing is, if you're making a story about the atomic bomb and you're showing, you're talking about the casualties and things, I can understand not wanting to put it in the movie because it's not directly referenced in the movie. I mean, it kind of is. But you have to show somewhat of the aftermath, in my opinion. And so knowing that, they don't do anything with it at all, they kind of like, we dropped the bomb. That sucks. Type of thing is kind of how they treat it. I mean, it's a lot more serious, but it's basically, it's very, what's the best way? It's very lawyer-esque, the way they treat dropping the atomic bomb. And it just personally, it felt very wrong to me. It felt like it was that Christopher Nolan didn't do the right thing, that the movie it needed it. Even with those over the end credit scenes, like I didn't really care where it was placed in the movie because once again,
it just needed to be there.
It needed to be there, and it was not there whatsoever. And that right there is part of the reason why I personally think it should be nominated for a lot of different categories at the Oscar. Sound design is fucking amazing.
Here's my biggest question for you, Jacob.
Yes.
Can you hear people talking?
You cannot hear people talking in the first 40 minutes and the last 40 minutes of the movie. When they're in the desert, they talk just fine. You can hear every equation that they tell you over and over and over again. That's also another reason why I recommend watching at home, because you can watch it with closed captions, and I think you could probably pick up more things than
I wonder if you'll like it more at home with closed captions.
I might. I don't know. But yeah, so Oppenheimer, I think I'm going to give it like an 8. Because I did enjoy my time. I just, there's a big aspect of the movie that I found boring. But that is what the movie is. I mean, I can't blame the movie for being what the movie told me it was.
The movie is about the creation of the atom bomb. It's not Oppenheimer going on a picnic saying, let's go meet our friends.
Actually, there is never mind. But normally, I just preferred the court drama. I thought it was much more intriguing and much more interesting in the way everything was set up and things. But then again, you have to have the backstory to really explore that aspect of it. So both sides are important.
Yeah.
I just don't know if the sequence needed to be as long as it was. I will say, though, for anybody who does get bored during that sequence, like I got bored during that sequence, the timing of the atomic bomb, though, is perfect. I will say that in pacing-wise, they set it off at the exact right moment that they should have in the movie. So they got that going for them.
Did your theater shake?
Yes, it did. Yes, it was very loud and very bright.
Cool.
Very loud and very bright. That's all I got. That's all I got going for it. Christopher Nolan, I know you didn't want to use CGI, but I would have invested in some VFX. That's just my opinion. And for him going around saying there's no VFX in this movie whatsoever, that is a bunch of horse shit. As someone who has seen the movie, it's not a lot. Okay, it's probably like $4 million worth of VFX, but there is VFX in this movie. It is a bunch of That is
The other
horror.
thing I wanted you to bring up, because I asked you this, was it weird seeing a Christopher Nolan movie with the Universal logo in front of it?
To me personally, no, because I guess I never really realized the home that he was at with Warner Brothers for
Mm-hmm.
such a long time. I would say probably for you, it's going to be weird. And the fact that Universal is so well known for doing creative things with their logo,
You would
and
think.
they did nothing with this logo whatsoever. It's just generic. It's not even like old time fashioned logo. It's just your generic globe. Also was a bit of a disappointment. And having that
What planet do you live
initial
on? Generic globe.
having that generic globe greet me after I saw the amazing trailer for Killers of the Flower Moon definitely was a disappointment. I'm not gonna lie to you. It definitely put me in one of those moods of like, okay, I see what movie we're watching. Genericness. Well done. Genericness.
Genericness, but
It is what it is. Now, speaking of a movie that's not anything but generic, let's go to Talk to Me. Talk to Me is a
talk to me,
horror
buddy.
film.
How was the movie?
Good, well. It is a horror film that took the world by flight. It has made $40 million on a $4.5 million budget. It is getting a sequel. It's getting a prequel. It's blowed up. A24 is having a fucking field day. That's where it's at. The movie is about a girl who ends up experiencing great loss, and she ends up going to a party where there's a hand at the party. You hold on to it and you say, "Talk to me." Supposedly, something comes in front of you, like a ghost or an entity or something, and you can say, "Let it in," and it's supposed to give you this euphoric feeling that you've never felt before because you yourself are finally letting go of your body for it's like 30 seconds or something like that. And then, the whole thing. It is a shocking, visceral experience that I loved. I loved every minute of it. It was a movie that I thought was going to be good. I thought the trailers were really good for it. I can't really talk too much about the story because like there's a lot of twists and turns, which is really good. It's really violent, which I kind of knew going in just because who the directors were. The directors are YouTubers, and they're known for their really, really violent special effects and stuff. Um, and so, but the trailers give no indication
How violent it really is.
for the violence. They're like, it's a possession movie. And they're not wrong. It kind of is a possession movie. I say kind of. It does, I would say, get a little too chaotic for some people towards the final third of the movie.
Mm-hmm.
They really just, they go balls to the wall and they're holding nothing back. But I definitely feel like, and I looked, we're watching it, and it's like the final like 2 or 3 minutes of the movie. I look over at my dad and I told him, oh, it better have a good conclusion. If it does not have a good conclusion, oh, this is gonna be so disappointing. I'm gonna walk out here being like sad. And I think the conclusion was pitch perfect excellentness. Like I feel like even though it was like really like what, I think the ending worked so well. The practical effects, it's all practical. There is no, um, I'm sure there's a little bit of VFX. Everything has a little bit of VFX in it, but
Yeah.
nowadays, but almost all of the wounds, almost everything that you see on screen, and everything is on screen. It is, it is beautifully well done. There's great callbacks. The lines are great. But my big takeaway here is the directing. The directing is so well done for a debut movie. It's part of the reason why eventually I will put Zachary through this movie. I don't think it's that hard. I don't think he's going to have the hardest time like handling it. I think there's going to be a few moments where he's going to be like, "Yep, no, I'm not watching. Tell me when it's over." But I think overall he's going to have like a lot of appreciation for the actual craftsmanship and the art of it. And when I show Zachary horror films, that's one of the big things I take away from. Now, sure, we were going to watch Sinister the other day, and I don't really think that's a really well-crafted horror film, in my opinion. But it's one of the scariest movies ever.
That's just to scare the literal shit out of me.
Yeah. And sometimes I do that too. This is not one of those cases. I'm not showing him to disturb him or to scare him. It could happen. Those are very possible things. It's a horror film, But to me, it's shocking. It's beautiful. I will mention for people who don't like animal abuse and things, 2 things, just because I would have liked to know going in. There is an animal that is dying in the movie. I won't tell you why or concept or anything for people out there, just letting them know. And then there is a dog in the movie, And because I personally like to know if the dog is fine, I'm going to let you know the dog is fine.
Okay, good.
You can count it as a spoiler. I don't care. I personally don't think animals are spoilers in horror films, and that's just how I feel. I don't know how everybody else.
Unless the film is called Pet Sematary, then it is a spoiler.
Yeah, I do agree with that one. But how do you feel about that? Do you think if an animal is abused or injured in a film, do you think it is a spoiler or not?
No, if you are an animal lover, I feel like should going into the film whether or not there is some hardcore animal stuff in this movie, because then you are more acquainted, you know what's coming, and it's not a shock.
Yeah, I definitely do agree. I highly recommend the.
Oh, he saw this. I saw 4 turtles fight a giant monster.
He did. And he'll talk about that soon. Because I did see this in August, but it came out in July, which is why I get to talk about it. It came out in August, so he gets to talk about it soon. It's just like a week or two away, Zachary. Stop crying. I will have to.
But my movie needs promotion.
That is true. Mine's doing quite well, but I don't care. I had a thought. What was my thought? Why did you have to ruin my thought with your TMNT bullshit? Oh, I recommend dothedogsdie.com. It's a website that has all horror films on it. Almost it gets updated regularly with new horror films, and it will tell you directly if any pets are injured. If it's a turtle, I'm just using the smallest of animals to like a fucking lion, whatever it might be. They will tell you if it's graphic, if it's off screen, if it you can hear anything. It's very well done, especially if that's extremely sensitive.
Craven the Hunter won't be for much people.
Yeah, probably not. Mm-hmm. Yeah, probably not. But I will have to say it's beautifully well done, very beautifully well directed. I'm going to give it like an 8.5 because it's a little too short for me. I think it could have added a little bit on its runtime, and I think there's like 1 or 2 scenes that could have been a little bit more explored. And because the ending does feel a little bit rushed because that runtime being so short, a part of me wishes some of those lasting effects were put upon your body just a little bit more.
Yeah.
And there's one element of the movie that's not explored at all that I'm really hoping is explored in the sequel because it was fascinating and I felt like I was criminally. I was like, why the fuck are you not going here? Because it was shocking, and I would like to see more of why it was in the movie, like other than the shocking elements of it.
Gotcha.
Also, the main character is extremely unreliable, and I find those to be some of the best horror films because you never know if it's
what
real
they're going to do. Oh.
Because the whole movie, the only time you ever see an entity or anything is through the main character. So if anybody else uses the hand, you never get to see anything, so you have no idea if it's real or not. So she could be making it up the entire time.
It could all be just complete bullshit
It could be all complete bullshit, but you will never know type of thing because it's all through her head. Which I thought was a very beautifully done artistic choice. It's very obvious from like the very opening that that's what they're doing.
That reminds me of Malignant a little bit.
Yeah, very much like Malignant. A hidden gem. Because this is an Australian film. Everybody in this movie is Australia, and it's beautiful.
It's an Aussie movie?
It is an Aussie movie. I did not know that when I took Dad to go see it, and I looked at him and I said, "Do you like Aussies?" And he's like, "I love Aussies." And I was like, "Okay, we're good." I was a little nervous. I'm not gonna lie.
What happens if you would have said no? Go watch the turtles.
I would have been like, "Well, I guess you're fucked with what?" Oh, also, weirdest experience. We had a man get up and leave the theater and go out the emergency exit door while watching this movie about 20 minutes from the end. And I'm not going to lie, for 20 minutes of this movie, I loved it. Did not really take up much of my brain, but I did think I was going to blow up. So.
Are you telling me it's been about 2 or 3 weeks since this happened and you never mentioned that once?
It took my mind.
He went out the emergency exit door.
Yeah, 4 security guards came in, walked over there, tried looking, seeing what happened, because obviously it set off an alarm, and no one got up and said, "Oh, a man went out there." We all just kind of continued to watch the movie as if nothing's happening, but I thought to myself, he was sitting 2 rows up. Did he leave a bomb? Am I about to die? Is this what's going to happen right now? And then it took me back to watching, what is that called? X-Men, the
Days of Future Past.
Days of Future Past, where we're watching it in theaters and a man is pissing down the seats. Yeah, that, great experiences in theaters, guys. I recommend you go and support your local theater chain. Nothing bad will ever happen. Yeah, I wonder what the silence handled. But yeah, that's talked to me. I highly recommend, especially if you're a horror fan. I think you'll have a good time. Or I think it's one that a lot of people should see. And they are directors to watch out for. I am quite sad that they're moving on to Street Fighter because, one, it makes no sense to me, but also, two, like, what the fuck? You're a horror director. Don't give me one and done. Give me 40 and done. It's far bad. James Wan. I want James Wan to come back to the genre that he created. He reinvented. And yet, no. He made Aquaman 2, which is going to be a write-off. I have a very strong feeling it's going to be a tax write-off. I don't think we're ever going to see that movie. And after
We still haven't seen a trailer. Still.
It's December. It's still some time. It comes out like a week after Wonka. Huh.
And we've seen the trailer for Wonka, Jake.
Well, what's up about ICarly in High School Musical, the series?
Okay, so much like how we did our trailers, we're going to start with my least favorite and go to my favorite. And my least favorite, and it's all because of a mediocrity of a finale, which would be iCarly.
Oh, before we get started, are we talking spoilers or are we going to leave it non-spoilery? Just so the audience knows.
You know what? Screw it. Spoilers for this. Because I feel like these shows are not as big as certain other shows where I feel like we're okay to talk about this because this is a very, very like intermittent conversation. iCarly has been notorious so far these past 3 seasons of the reboot to be really weird with its cliffhangers. The first season ended with them in the woods. The second season ends with them with Freddie's girlfriend walking out the door, and that's where we leave it. And this season ends with a possible series finale cliffhanger that we'll never get an answer to. And I did not like season 2. I liked all of season 3 to the end. I feel like the episode prior to the finale of season 3 would have been a good ending to the season. Because Carly and Freddie would have had their moment together to tell Millicent's mom that they're together. Carly and Millicent have their moment together. And then Carly and Freddie overall have their moment of like, now everybody knows, we're comfortable with it. End of season, done. I feel like they did the ending with the mom just to shock people. And it didn't work for me. Also, I really wish Harper had more to do in season 3. She had a lot to do in season 3. But I feel like they relegated her to the side, and I wish her girlfriend had more to do. I love that actress. She's hilarious in this show. I wish they had more for her to do. But yeah, overall, I thought this season of iCarly was good to the end, and I give it a 3.75 out of 5. It could have got there to a 4, but it just needed a better ending. What do you think of iCarly this season, Jacob? And as a whole for season 2 and season 3, would you be satisfied with this being the ending to the show if it ends this way?
I do not. The cast and crew are pretty confident that it will get picked up for a season 4, which is part of the reason why they agreed on the ending that they agreed on, because they were they pretty much got the okay like before they started filming that there would probably be another one. So, like, that does make me a little bit more okay with the ending, just because, it might not happen, and that is fine. I will have to say this much. If it ends up being that way, I will take the ending of season 3. So, I agree with Zachary. I thought the first, 4 or 5 episodes of season 2, season 1 was great. Season 1 was excellent from beginning to end. Well, up until, that final episode. I didn't really like the final episode. But everything else I thought was great. I didn't mind the one-offs, and I felt like all the jokes were funny. Overall, very solid. The beginning of season 2 was also very solid. I feel like it was a good conclusion to that cliffhanger, and I felt really well-rounded. And then it fell into a deep wall, and it was in that deep wall until the very end, and it just stayed there. So I'm kind of happy we didn't watch it when it aired, because I would have been disappointed. And I don't know if I would have
because of one person.
Yeah, the girlfriend. And to be honest with you, I don't know if I would have went back to season 3 if we would have watched all the way through season 2. So I'm happy we watched it the way we watched it, just for that reason alone.
Mm-hmm.
And then with season 3, I agree with Zachary. I don't necessarily agree with everything he said because I didn't mind the cliffhanger ending. It was disappointing, but ultimately I was told that it's a great ending.
Mm-hmm.
So best be my surprise when it was not a great ending. But then again, I can see where a lot of people online are coming about because a lot of people are like, if we just look at it from the standpoint of her not having the reveal that it was it's her mom at this event or whatever, they technically said the vows that they wanted to say, and so technically Credit got married without getting married, and so the TV show, like in some people's brains, if it does get canceled, ends right there, and then they are satisfied. Then it's just a storyline that I can understand why there's no reveal about the mom. Once again, they're trying to figure out how big the audience is, how big of an actress they can get to play her. They can they make it a big splash, or if it's going to be like a small little thing. I do find it very interesting. I hope in season 4, if we get a season 4, that's really well explored because that's something that's never been explored in iCarly before is her mom. So overall, I much preferred this season. I watched it in about 1 or 2 sittings.
Same.
And I felt like it was almost perfect all the way up until like the last 5 or 10 seconds. Everything else I thought was like,
because you should have seen me and Jacob's faces when the ending was going on. I'm like, huh? And then it ends. We're like, no.
So yeah, so that's kind of where I stand. I definitely would watch again for sure. I don't think it opposed me from.
I think this is the best show that grew with its audience. Like this, this feels like something from Nickelodeon that we watched as kids. That this grew up with us, and I feel like this is, and the other show we're going to talk about, I think successively have made it to where we grew up with these properties, and they grew up with us in a way. And so I feel nostalgic for it, but it's not over nostalgia. Like the stories are there enough, and I'm satisfied with them.
Yeah. No,
so you can start. So you can start the second one.
So no, you're good.
Go. This was the biggest surprise of Disney Plus for me because I think me and Jacob can both agree. When the trailers are coming out for this show, we were like, okay, this is interesting. The title is a lot. So what are they going to do with this? And this ended up being one of the best non-Disney Channel original shows ever made. This show is beautiful. This show is heartwarming. But Jacob, why do we love this show? The music.
Well, and
Miss Jen. And Carlos. And Seb. And
Ricky.
And Gina. And Elton John.
And
Emmy.
And what is her name?
Gadget.
Starts with an A.
Ashlyn. And Gadget. And Jet.
And Jet.
Just the cast in general.
And to be fair, I really liked Nene when Nene was on the show as well. I do have to say I kind of like the direction they went in more, just because I think I like Gina a little bit better, and they did some better character development. But that is also based on actors and it had some outside effects.
The music in the final season is just.
I mean, it's season 3 and 4, top fucking notch.
By the end of season 3, the music is just their rendition of "Let It Go." But to me, the song that stands out from the season, I keep listening to it, is "Dreams Don't Die" by Emmy. It is such a powerful moment for that new freshman student to realize, this can be my last time to sing on this stage. I want to give it my all. And I think the song that she sang was cut from originally High School Musical 3 because it was for Gabriella. But I think they cut it from the movie. So she got to sing the song from the movies that got cut, which is really cool. And I really like her. And also, she's the best character of the season because she is everywhere, knows everything, and yet says nothing. I think Miss Jen puts it perfectly. Why do you know so much? Because I know things. And I'm like, okay. But no, this season made us cry. I think this has one of Jacob's favorite moments of a musical between two men I think. You want to talk about it, Jake?
No. You're still going. You're still going.
This gets a 5. I think this is a perfect final season for a show. I think all the stories get tied up. I think all the loose ends are tied up. We know where everybody's at, and I'm comfortable with it. And it also has one of my favorite relationships blossoming in a show ever between Gadget and Ashlyn. Such a just like heck yeah moment when they finally get the kiss. So it's a moment I'll never forget. So overall, go watch High School Musical, the musical, the series. What a mouthful! I do not like the title of this show, but I love this show.
But also, like, they make fun of it. It's very self-aware, so like it's kind of the point.
This also made me realize I never want High School Musical 4. Leave it alone. We're good.
Yeah. They're in marriage counseling. It checks out. Gonna be honest with you. It checks. Okay, so High School Musical 4. Oh, the series, season 4, I should say. Fucking phenomenal. Had a lot of Zachary could not have come to my house faster. The day could not have passed faster. He only wanted to watch one episode. I got 3 out of them the first night, thank God. And then I was like, we have to finish it. I was addicted. So here's the thing. When I watched season 3, there's like 3 or 4 episodes in there that I thought were a bit slow, a bit loggy, that I didn't really care for. And then it just, from Car Wars on, it's perfect. I mean, the rest of the show is perfect. I wouldn't change a single thing about it. I liked every storyline. I felt like everything was done really, really well. I felt like even though it was very complicated and so many different pieces were moving, I felt like everything was just so beautiful.
I wasn't confused.
No, I was never confused either. And I don't know. I feel like they built on storylines that they couldn't perfect before and made them perfect. And I feel like every character that wanted an ending got an ending, which, I think is very important. And the final song they sing from Wicked at the end credits, which was so shocking. We had no idea it was coming.
Jake was like, "There's a post-credit scene. What was this?" And all of a sudden they start singing. What's the song called? It's one of my favorite songs from Wicked. Anyway, I was like, "That's not High School Musical. That's not Camp Rock. That's not Disney." Oh.
And they're all crying while they sing it because it's their final performance they'll ever sing together. And it's just the actors. They wanted to sing a song and they recorded it.
Damn, Seb can play a piano.
And then it also has probably going to be my favorite. Well, I'm saying this tentatively because we still have so much of the year left. But I would be really shocked if it doesn't end up in my top 10. I.e., it's number 7 in my top 10 for 2023, and that is called Over Again. It's Seb and Carlos's song. I can't stop listening to it. It brings me so much happiness and so much joy. That's such an interesting relationship they decided to go down, and I really like them exploring it as well. Because a lot of TV shows would not let the queer characters explore that relationship in this type of light. Because this is for children. We're gonna say I would say it's more for like a teen audience, but you get my point here.
Yeah.
Younger children are gonna watch it. It's just the moral of the story here. And they're gonna be like, no, that's not positive. That's not. You're not showing them like a positive outlook. No, it's a real outlook. That's what happens. And I don't know. I really like the storyline. I also really enjoyed all the cursing. There's a lot of curse words in the final season. This final season was a lot more adult. It dealt with a lot more adult things, and they handled it very, very well.
Maturely.
And it has one of the best breakups in anything I've ever seen between Ashlyn and Big Red. They're both just like, and I think the beautiful thing about it is because it is like puppy love. Their love was more than that, but it really was. It blossomed over, a very short period of time, and they really fell really deeply. And they both just knew, no, I want what's best for you. And if this is what's best for you, then guess what? That's amazing. You should do that. And that right there, I think will do so much wonders for a lot of people in the world if they eventually do watch it. Either queer people, like, they're both going through big changes in their life because of it, or just simply learning that just because you love someone doesn't mean you have to be with them, doesn't mean they can't be your best friend still, doesn't mean you have to, you can break up and still be exactly who you were before you broke up. The only difference is you're not kissing. You're not going on dates, but you're still hanging out all the time. You're still doing everything. And that's not really represented in TV shows or books or movies, really at all.
I think Ashlyn put it the best. Did we just have the chillest breakup in the world? Yeah, we did. And they hug.
So yeah, it's a perfect 10 for me. Overall, I'd say the whole TV show is a perfect 10, even with
It's
the
so
law moments
good.
in season 3, because that's the only law moments in the entire show. Because
Show.
season 2 was perfection. Season 1
there's a
was
song in season 2 that me and Jacob listen to constantly.
season 1 was the epitome of a pilot season, with the low budgets and the low production, and it was beautifully done. And I loved every minute of it. That was a season that made me cry. Homecoming episode will forever hold a place in my heart.
Carlos just dancing in there, and everybody coming together with them, and it just
And then,
also, sorry,
no, it's fine. And then we watched the entire first season in one sitting. I don't know. He didn't want to watch it. I just turned it on. I was like, no, we're gonna watch this.
And then the other thing I think that this show did so well is that it brought characters back from the movies, and it wasn't for just like, hey, we're here. They used them for actual purposes that made sense.
Well, I would say
Chad and Monica, really. And also, Lucas had his moments in season 2.
Well, no, like with Lucas, I guess he was back for season 2. I forgot about that. With Lucas, I think the big thing here was the retconning, was the being like, yeah, Ryan is gay. Like, us finally getting the confirmation, even if it's in a fake world or whatever, doesn't really matter. But that character is exactly who everybody thought it was, and Disney was finally like, "Yep, okay, we'll sign off on it." I think it was a missed opportunity not to bring back Kenny Ortega and things like that. Agree. But then again, maybe he didn't have any desire to come back.
And also the
T talking. I gotta be real.
The woman who plays the drama teacher from the High School Musical movies, she is still her from the movies. She it felt like a good overall Disney property, and I haven't felt that way about a Disney property in a while. And so High School Musical, the series final season is perfection. It's really, really, really good. If you've never seen any of the High School musical series at all, definitely go back and watch it. It's all there now. Easy binge, and the music is fantastic. Jacob is not here, but I will tell you guys, and I'll ask him whether or not he agrees with me. This is the closest thing that we get to this generation's version of Glee, and I think this did better in some aspects than Glee did. I think Glee had some moving forward for certain things, but I think this show really flew with that, and it elevated it better. So High School Musical, the musical series, I highly recommend. iCarly, if you're an iCarly fan, go watch it. But it's good. It just takes a little bit to get there. But once it gets there, it gets there. It's good. So, yeah. We will. That's all I really have to say about that one. While we wait, I'll put this on and we'll do this for a minute. So let's see. Everybody excited for Spider-Man 2? I know I am. And Jake is back. We're gonna go back here.
All right. Hey, all right. What'd you do?
I went over to random shit for 10 minutes because I ran out of things to say, so I was just talking about random shit while you were gone. It's a good avenue.
Yeah, I agree.
But I did have one more thing to ask you about this.
Oh, okay, for me, okay.
Yeah. Did you would you agree that this is this generation's version of Glee, and it's a lot more welcoming version of Glee?
I wouldn't say it's this generation's. I mean, for Glee fans, I keep recommending it like Glee because I feel like that's the best sell. The best sell.
Mm-hmm.
But I wouldn't necessarily say it's this generation of Glee. It's not as edgy. I think it needed to be a little bit more edgy, a little bit more adult, and handling a little bit more of adult topics. They missed a few of those key moments. Obviously, Glee is really problematic, and Glee does not do a good job handling the topics that they're trying to handle 90% of the time. But they did try to handle those topics, and High School Musical wasn't willing to go there. For instance, by the end, they're seniors in high school. Sex would be having, conversations and things like that more graphically. And I don't know. There's aspects that I didn't want in the show, like, at all. I didn't want those things personally. Like, I don't think you wanted those things in the show either. It just wouldn't fit. But I think that's what makes the difference between Glee and not Glee.
Gotcha.
But if you're looking for a substitute because you're tired of the problematicness of Glee and you still want the original songs and great characters and very gay, then yes, I highly recommend High School Musical, the musical series. Doesn't start out very gay, I will mention that, but it ends very, very gay. I feel like every character by the end of that show is a little queer, just a little bit, and which I actually think is a great representation. Sorry, just before I jump into that, great representation of theater. If you walk in the theater, you're not a little gay. By the time you walk out there, you're a little gay.
Speaking of theaters and actors, let's talk about the.
I'm sure there's a lot of gays in here too. Is that what the G stands for? Writing Gay America?
Jacob's tired. Forgive him.
Yeah, please do. Just let me be. Okay, so we're gonna talk about the WGA and the SAG. Yeah, SAG. SAG. Just making sure. Strike updates. I'm gonna talk about why they're on strike. We talked about why the WGA is on strike. The biggest thing from that, technically, the news is from August, but we don't have any results yet. So we'll be able to talk about it more later on, but I will mention it here because we probably won't have an update for August for this.
They had their first sit down.
They're having their first sit down, and the current news around Tinseltown is that they should probably be settled by Labor Day, the writer's strike.
Which I find funny.
The actor's strike is supposed to be more like towards like October, November-ish is the current rumor. We'll see if that happens. They have not been sat down with yet. But for instance, we talked about why the writers are on strike. They're not getting paid anything like whatsoever. You can look up so many different stories. It's horrendous. And things like that.
The writer of Blue Beetle had to do Uber driving.
Well, also, I feel like a good one. Never heard this before. Netflix, for instance. So when you sit down to write a TV show, you normally have like 20 people to sit down to write with you. They all take a little piece of character, and it's always a very like normally diverse group of characters because you're normally writing for diverse groups of characters. And even though you're trying to write the story through your character's eye, you still want to be organic and realistic. And so having 20 people from different backgrounds all talking, you can get a really real and true representation of what you're trying to represent. Well, Netflix decided 20 writers is too expensive, so they cut it down to 3 writers, and they write the entire thing. And normally it's just a rough outline that they write, and then they pass it off to other writers, and they move on to other projects. And those writers only write 1 or 2 episodes, and they pass it off. Which is why there's a lot of Netflix shows, which I do agree, that feel very disjointed. Very much like, where is this coming from? I.e., any of the Netflix Defender shows or anything, like Marvel. Like, I think we all can agree by the end of every season, where they started was not where they ended. And sometimes it's a good thing, sometimes it's a bad thing. It's something I learned while doing that. But that's for the writers. Actors on strike, we didn't get to talk about actors yet. Simply because, 1, residuals are not a thing anymore. Residuals is what made a lot of actors today actors they are today. Residuals are what pays your bills because you can't guarantee a job. So if you get to go work on a 5-season television show, it used to be you pay for all the reruns. You'd pay.
Friends and Seinfeld are a great example of that.
Yeah, Friends and Seinfeld are a great example. Jennifer Aniston will forever be able to sit pretty because of the residual she made off of Friends for like 20 years. She's making nothing off of Friends anymore, but when she was making money off of Friends, it was a lot of money. And there are 0 residuals in streaming. You get paid up front, and that's it.
Which is ridiculous.
It's really ridiculous. There's also a few other things. So that was like one of the things that I think we all can agree is really stupid. and that should be changed. Like if we're going into the streaming world, if we're in the streaming world, then your
It
actors should
shouldn't
get
have
paid.
changed. It's still them. It's still their show being watched over and over and over again and constantly being viewed. It's
In
not just like a one and done thing.
in their contract that they wrote up, the different things that they're trying to negotiate and stuff. They even said it doesn't have to be like every show. Like they understand like the smaller shows that don't get constant viewers and stuff. They don't
But the
deserve,
big ones,
but the ones that are extremely popular, they deserve a compensation for the money that they're selling.
there's a reason why there was a bidding war between Friends for Netflix and for when it went back to HBO Max. It's because it's a highly sought after show. Seinfeld is the same thing. Jerry Seinfeld for almost, I think, probably 30 years was getting residuals off of his own show, and now it's on streaming, he gets a little bit of that, like Jacob said, up front, and then it's done.
Well,
So
no, they don't even get paid up front if it's an already made television show. They only get paid up front if it's new. And
that's even
so
ridiculouser.
yeah, so like for instance, like Ahsoka. Let's talk about
Mhm.
Ahsoka. Ahsoka's on everybody's mind right now because it's about the premiere. When we're filming this, it's the day of the premiere.
Happy
Um,
Ahsoka Day, everybody.
they all got paid up front, and that's it. And that's all the money they'll ever see for working on Ahsoka. They could love the project. They could, do everything. It could be the best time of their lives. But the moral of the story here is getting paid up front, especially if you're a smaller actor, not really well known. Even if you're in a big role, it doesn't really matter, what size role you're in. You're only going to get paid, X, Y, Z amount of money, and you're dependent on the constant, churn of money,
Mhm.
and they don't have it at all. And that was like one of the big things. Um, what was the other one? The other one was like people were asking, they're asking for like making sure that the hair products, the lighting, everything is set for every type of actor, every set of diversity, just having something accommodate them because
Mhm.
like, it's different for every person, and they told them no. Um, that was one of the things that they told them no on the initial, like part of the reason why they went on strike. These are part of the big reasons. Another reason that I found interesting was kids' labor laws. Those have been changed for a while now. And so they had said you should, have more restrictions on kids' labor laws and like, trying to help and protect kids when they get into the industry so young. And they said no.
That's
They said
that's that would cause a strike right there,
then another one is like there is no rest. They can work 18 hours and they have to be back for another 18-hour day.
which is
Um, and
ridiculous.
so they asked, during after these long shoots, can we take a day to like recuperate so we can come back and do our best? And they said no. I'm trying to think of some other bigger ones, things like that. But also you have to remember like other stories such as like the Lizzie McGuire dad. He was talked about how he got sent a check from Disney when Lizzie McGuire went on Disney Plus for $0 for a whole year. That's what he got paid for a whole year was $0 out of residuals. And he talked about how when Disney was playing Lizzie McGuire on Disney Channel, it wasn't like a lot of money. It was like, $1,000 here or there or whatever. But that $1,000 goes a long way when you're trying to go from gig to gig. Or we're talking about the girl from Orange is the New Black. Her residuals for Orange is the New Black, it's like season 3 or something like that, for a single year, and she was a prominent character. She was like in almost every scene and stuff. In Orange is the New Black, when it was airing on Netflix, like when it was premiering and stuff, it was the TV show that set Netflix to become Netflix that it is today.
Mhm.
Without Orange is the New Black, you would not have Netflix today. You wouldn't have streaming today. You wouldn't have the binge model. You wouldn't have any of that stuff. She got paid $13.80, and that's it. Think things are those lines. There's other stories you can look up and stuff that are really fascinating. Oh, also another one that like for Disney, because Disney's like really notorious to trying to skimp out on as much money as possible, paying their actors and everything. Disney Channel, for instance, if your TV show gets more than 3 seasons, they'll change the title for the next 3 seasons because they have a way that they do it that instead of paying you like wage wise, they do it by percentage, and so you'll get like 80% of what you're supposed to owe, for those first 3 years. But after that fourth year, you'll get paid fully or whatever. And so every time like a TV show gets really popular, like Hannah Montana, for instance, the reason why it's called Hannah Montana Forever, not Hannah Montana, is because they didn't want to pay all the actors extra money. And so
Sweet
they
Life on
changed
Deck.
Sweet Life on Deck. The reason why they got a spinoff was because of that. For instance, and sometimes you don't even know about it, like Liv and Maddie went on for 4 seasons. Liv and Maddie to us, it's always just been Liv and Maddie. But for the actors, the 4th season was called Cali Style. Because if you put a different name on it, they don't have to pay you extra. And because of how the contracts are set up and stuff. Things like that are particularly like absolutely horrible. That's why they're on strike. And I think it's just important to know, once again, there are links down below if you want to donate. That will always help. They need water. They need lots of different things to be on the picket line. If you can donate, obviously you don't have to donate. You don't have the money. Completely understandable. Also, if you're just curious how to help, I have different links and stuff like I said down in the description for you. It's very important. And also for anybody asking, like, do I need to boycott like Netflix, Disney, or anything? At this very moment in time, neither the writer's strike or the actor's strike have asked anybody to boycott anything. Movies, streaming, it does not matter. That's not really what they're out there for. That's not the purpose that they're out there for.
It's not the reasoning for why they're on strike. They're on strike to show that we should be treated as such and not as what you are treating us currently.
And then also, I think another thing to remember that, like, if we strike all these big companies, then it's every big company that's out there. We don't watch anything, nothing will get renewed. Nothing. That means when they go back to having a job, they will not have a job.
They'll have anything to go back to.
They'll have anything.
So in a weird way, watching the programs that these actors and writers are currently striking on is also making sure that they have a job for when they get back after the strike is over. So and it's weird because I know some content creators are like, no, we stand by this. We're not going to watch anything brand new. We're not going to watch. And if we do, we're going to backlog it to where after the strike is done, we're going to dump everything on there, which I think is a smart idea to where you are still actively approaching that content, but not promoting it on your channel. And to me, it is that, we have been talking about this for a while now, and we're actually talking about it now because we're going to do the Flash commentary. That's one we're going to talk about. And I have been going back and forth on whether or not we should do it because that is a movie that's already been made, done, made its money, and now we're watching it on Max, which is Warner Brothers streaming service. And, do I feel guilty for doing that? In some regards, I do, because it feels like I'm giving Max that time on their streaming service to promote their movie that in my opinion, should not get promoted. And so it's a choice battle. Like, it's whether or not you want to go in on that fight or whether or not you're comfortable with that situation. I know some people are not going to put out reactions tonight for Ahsoka because they are standing with SAG and WGA. And I think that's a very good thing. A channel I watch on YouTube named Previewed, they are reacting to the episodes, but they're not dropping anything until after the strike is done to say that, hey, we are here, we support you, but we're also going to make sure that you have work after the strike is done. So we're still going to use that content, but not promote it. So it's always really up to the content creator and where they are the most comfortable in that area. Now, if you are a person wanting to go into either the SAG or the WGA, then it'd be in your best interest not to really touch any of that. But if you have no real influence in that, or you're just like us, who is just watching content and, having a good time with it and talking about it, then you should be fine. It just solely depends on you as a person and what you would want to do.
And also, if you are doing that, like for us, we haven't really been doing it a lot, but as going forward, as long as these strikes are continuing onwards, before we watch anything, as we go through everything, we're going to continue to remind you guys that this is happening. This is a real problem. This is a real threat. Because a lot of people believe, why are they on strike? Especially actors. They all get paid hundreds of millions of dollars. No, they don't get all.
Everybody thinks about Jennifer Aniston, Brad Pitt. They think about them, but there are actors underneath them that do not get what they have. There are the extras. There are the extras of B, extra C. There are the sub extras. They're the ones that sit at the bottom. There's a random guy who drinks the coffee cup in the back of the coffee shop that is not getting paid what he deserved, and they deserve as much as they are as the big talent gets.
So with that being said, I changed some stuff around because I think it's just smarter to go into a conversation very familiar with the conversation we're already having. and a very rampant problem. Another reason, something I did not mention, why both the writers and actors are on strike, and that is AI.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to very quickly touch on this. I don't feel like it's going to be a very big story, but I think there's several different things that a lot of people just don't know is happening in Hollywood that is currently happening. So AI is relatively fresh to the market. It really only became popular over the past year or so, but that does not mean AI has not been being used for several years now. For instance, I'm going to tell a story about WandaVision and Zachary talking about the actor drinking coffee. That's a very good example. I'm going to use WandaVision. I'm going to use Prom Pact. Yeah,
Thank you. Thank you.
it's a very good example because that is an extra. That is something they pay to come sit on set to drink coffee that has no speaking lines, which means you are just there to try to say, a straight face or whatever they need you to do.
Adding fluff to the scene. You're there
Adding, yeah,
to make it more real instead of just the actors sitting in that one room. You're adding more to the scene.
and you normally an extra if you are there, you get paid about $100 to $150 per day. However many days you work, that's basically the baseline route. You don't get paid any extra if you're there for 40 days. You don't get paid any less if you're there for 4 hours. Normally you walk home with about $100 to $150, which if you have 40 extras, on one day of shooting, that can be really expensive, and that can go towards big part of your budget and things, which is why a lot of small indie films don't have a lot of extras in their movies, if you realize, because they can't really afford to have a bunch of extras running around, because extras was a very commonly thing that a lot of people thought they were free. A lot of people thought, oh, people just walk on set and they're like, oh, can I be a part of this scene? And they're like, oh yeah, I need an extra, come be a part of the scene. And I'm not saying that doesn't happen. I'm not saying, like for instance, like movies, like we had a movie shot in our hometown where several of my friends were extras. They didn't get paid shit.
Avengers shot near us back in 2012, and they were asking people to come on, and you can come in and shoot and be on the set when they were doing the forest fight and that kind of thing. So it happens, but very rarely does that kind of stuff happen.
Yeah, it's much more for extremely smaller films that can't really afford it, who are shooting in very rural towns that have people who want to be in a movie for like a quick walk frame or whatever, and they don't care. They're just happy they're in the movie. They don't care that they get paid for it because they get the oh my god, I'm in a movie, type of thing.
Cross it off the bucket list kind of thing.
Yeah, even if your shot doesn't make it, you still can say I filmed this scene for a movie today, or whatever. And so it does happen, but it's very rare. And so I don't want people coming out of this thinking that is the norm. That is not the norm. Extras are paid. They're called paid extras for a reason. They're not called free extras. Well, Hollywood decided really early on, I'm going to talk about WandaVision in particular. There was a girl who came out who is on strike right now, who was not told this. She was asked to have her whole entire body scanned without her permission. She gave permission for it to happen, but the actual use of it was not given to her permission. Her whole body was scanned. She was an extra in WandaVision for them to digitally place her in any scene that they want her in using AI technology, and they don't have to pay her a dime for her lookalike. And she is not credited for being in any of those scenes because the only you can credit is if you get paid, and it's like a whole, it's a whole
yeah.
thing. And so they're not credited or anything, and they've been doing this since WandaVision. WandaVision came out in 2020, and so or 2021.
2020.
2020? Okay, couldn't remember. I knew it was one of those years. That was a long time ago. That was before ChatGPT. I mean, I'm sure these things were around, but before they blew up. Before you're like, oh my god, AI art, which we'll talk about. Secret Invasion here again. Disney's really bad about this. So another one I'm going to use is Prom Pact. Prom Pact, I don't know if you guys know what that movie is or not. Perfect if you don't. It's a Disney Channel movie that got released on Disney Plus as well. Yeah. It got really well known for two things. The Disney Plus version is like a pretty adult PG-13 movie, and the Disney Channel version is a pretty kid-like movie. And so parents thought, oh, you saw this on Disney Channel, you can watch it on Disney Plus, and they were welcome to having sex and cheating scandals and things like that were cut out completely, lines cut out completely, curse words, whole 9 yards out of the Disney Channel movie, and they released the uncut version on Disney Plus without warning, without saying this is different from whatever. So that's one of the reasons why I got noticed. But the second reason, there's a pep rally in the very beginning of the movie, and there's a girl holding her phone out, acting like she's taking a video or a selfie, And someone paused the frame and was like, "Oh, that's really weird. I feel like I see her again." And she filled up half the bleachers. The exact same shot filled up half the bleachers on the pep rally. That girl, whoever it was, whoever image they use, doesn't even have to be a paid extra, whatever image that, they got a hold of that they could use, copyright, is a part of the law still, but you understand what I mean,
Mm-hmm.
did not get any money from it, did not earn anything from her picture being used in that movie. And it was very blatantly obvious. I think that's the most blatantly obvious one I've seen so far.
And isn't The Nun 2 going through a certain thing like this right now with the main
Well,
actress or
so the Nun 2 is a slightly different problem. The Nun 2 is she signed a contract when she signed on for The Conjuring 2 back in 2019, or The Nun. It might have been The Nun when she did The Nun. One or the other. That going forward, as she comes back and rephrases its character and going forward with her contract with Warner Brothers, she gets a certain amount of money, a cut from the merchandising. Because her face, her lookalike, it's her, and she believed, and her team believed that she should get, even if it's like 10% of like however much merch they sell or whatever her face on, doesn't really matter, type of thing. And she is suing because Warner Brothers owes her upwards of like $300,000 worth of merchandising that they skimped her out over the past like 4 years.
Well, yeah, because if you when you look at the NECA figure for the Nun, it's her likeness on the figure. They've talked about it numerous times at Comic-Con where it takes about 2 to 3 years to get any kind of likenesses for any figures. I mean, Turtles figures are notorious for that, and so you have to pay the actor or actress to have their likeness as a figure. So it's kind of shady that Warner Brothers didn't even give her anything like that. That's
And
kind of ridiculous.
especially because it was in her contract. It would be
Right.
different if it's not in her contract. I mean, a lot of
If it's
people, it's
not
not in
there,
their
there's nothing they can
contract.
do. It's not
They
part of the
can't,
contract.
and I think that is really interesting because, like, here's the thing: you can either sculpt it, like I'm sure people sculpt things, to
Oh,
make it look
3D
like.
printing is a major thing now when it comes to that.
But 3D printing could also be counted as AI technology in a way because you are digitally placing someone on something. Like that's what AI does. That's kind of the whole point of it. And you're using its look likeness, and they're getting nothing for it. Which that's why, like with a lot of these strikes and stuff, they're trying to put really strict laws around it. For instance, Disney and other companies are putting out jobs right now for people to come and specialize in AI, upwards of $150,000 a year, to come work in their companies to get better AI technology, so they can get away with AI writing, AI things. And like I've used ChatGPT as like a joke or whatever, like trying to figure out if I say write me a She-Hulk, script or whatever, type of thing. I want to see how it comes out. Is it
Mm-hmm.
usable? And 96% of the time, it is not usable. I've
That's
seen
true.
a few here, one or two where I'm like, oh, okay, I could see where there's something, but it's normally like the bones. You still need someone, a human, to come in and actually do it.
Mm-hmm.
So it's very interesting, and it's a very early developing thing. I'm personally extremely against AI in Hollywood. I think it should not be in Hollywood at all. I don't think like Secret Invasion. I don't think they should use AI art. You should pay an artist for, and if you want to do an artist intro, you should pay an
It makes
artist
me
to do all
very
those.
curious about Loki.
It does make me very curious about Loki. I do agree. All right, well, that is AI.
James Cameron warned us back in the 80s. Hey, it's gonna happen. Terminator 2.
All right, let's move on.
I can also use this as an example for SAG and stuff. So this Woody doll is voiced by Jim Hanks, not Tom, but Jim. And so, but Tom Hanks would still get the residuals off of this doll because it's based on Woody from Toy Story. It'd be like if in his contract he would say that if in my contract, whenever a Woody doll is put out and my brother's voice is used, we split the money down the middle where he would get residuals for the voice, but I get the likeness for the doll. There has been a big issue with Tim Allen right now within the Toy Story stuff because he is not getting any residuals off of Lightyear because Buzz Lightyear was originally his character, and then they did Lightyear solo movie, and he's not voicing Buzz in the movie. and he fought Disney because he should have gotten something from the film because Buzz Lightyear is his character. But since it wasn't part of his contract for sequels or spinoffs, he doesn't get anything. So he's been fighting that. And for me, he is Buzz Lightyear. He deserves something of that movie. And the fact that he doesn't, I think, is really, really wrong.
I wouldn't necessarily, my personal opinion, that's an interesting conversation. That's a very interesting, complex conversation. I don't really think today is the day to have that
I agree.
But I'm going to throw my 2 cents in, and then we can jump out. Just because we do need to move on. We are trying to be on a time limit, one would say.
Sorry.
It's fine. I'm going to throw my 2 cents in, and that is I don't think for the movie personally that he should get anything from, because he technically didn't voice the character. I understand the likeness and things, but definitely for any action figures or anything like that, if he'd gotten residuals before for other Toy Story movies like Tom Hanks or whatever, then yes. Chris Evans, if he does the voice for the new action figures, it should be the same thing, a 50-50 split. Half of it goes...
It's like with SAG and WGA. They put their effort into coming in and voicing these toys. They deserve to get residuals off the toys that they make. It shouldn't be like, well, we got your voice now. We can put it anywhere. We don't have to pay you for any of it.
It's so interesting because those are things I never used to think about when I was younger. Like even like 3 or 4 years ago, I don't even think I would have probably thought.
This Buzz Lightyear toy has like 50 sayings from Tim Allen, and it's Tim Allen, and he fought tooth and nail to get money off of this, and I don't think he still has, and that's sad.
And like this is also becoming a problem. That is an interesting subject, and I hope Not Tired Zachary remembers it for a future podcast where we're running low on stories and we don't have enough time.
That's fair.
Because I would love to dive into it because like we can go into the video game space because it's really rampant in the video game space. And so like I think there is a conversation to have here. One, I don't have the research on. I'd like to be more prepared about it, but that is a very interesting conversation. And definitely keep it in the back of your head.
Will do.
For sure. Let's go ahead and go over to Comic-Con. So Comic-Con was
I heard people enjoyed Comic-Con this year.
We'll talk about that. Comic-Con was July
7th through 9th.
Okay, July 7th through the 9th. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
And I have a big, long list here. I'm not going to go through everything because that's just not important. We're going to go through the highlights. But Zachary, can you please explain why people enjoyed Comic-Con better this year than previous years?
Because it was actually part of the word comic. It wasn't. No one came there to be focused on movie news, TV news. It was just fans of comic books coming together and spending money at booths for toys, going to comic panels. I mean, Hall H had more comic book panels this year than in any year of Comic-Con. And I think that is absolutely fantastic. Hall H should not just be dedicated to films and television. Comics deserve their love in the big space, not in ballrooms at the big Hall H panels. And people were very excited to see that these comic books were getting their due in these big halls. And I think that's really cool. So it was nice to see that, we don't need Marvel there. We don't need DC there. It still ran and did fine. They had things there, but it wasn't like, it was small, like Walking Dead and Invincible were there, but those are comic book properties, and Image was there to promote them. And that was really cool. It wasn't, Amazon being there or AMC. It was Image Comics promoting their material. And that to me is really cool.
I do agree. And I did hear amazing things. And this was really interesting.
It wasn't stressful.
A lot of people had asked the question, okay, no one's showing up for Comic-Con, which is what we talked about last 3 podcasts ago. I'm not really sure. It's one of them. It's in the title. So if you want to figure out how our discussion about it, you totally can. And there's chapter times. Always remember those chapter times. I work really hard to make sure they're in every episode. Besides the point. Essentially, what I have to say is a lot of people were wondering if Comic-Con would not come back for 2024, 2025 type of thing if the studios are pulling out. Because for a long time there, the Comic-Con was the reason why it was making revenue, was because the studios were coming in and they're doing all these panels and this or that, right? And it's not saying that Comic-Con couldn't go back to the way Comic-Con was in 2024.
Sure.
This year is complicated. There's a lot of different things going on, so a lot of people pulled out last minute. I mean, a lot of people pulled out last minute. It was, Comic-Con changed really rapidly within like 3 or 4 days. So it's not saying that this could have been like one of those years. Like, if you really just want a relaxed Comic-Con experience, you should have went.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it did do well enough overall that if they have to do another year, 3 more years, 5 more years, if this is the rest of what Comic-Con looks like, I think
They're
it
gonna
will
be
do
fine.
just fine. And I think they will come back. And as we're going to go over here, I have several things to talk about. Several cool things, things that maybe Zachary doesn't know, things maybe I don't know, because I have a long ass list here. We're not going to, like I said, go through every single thing. But things were still announced, things were still presented, things were still shown as if you were still going to like a normal Comic-Con as well. So let's go ahead and talk through some of these things, and then we can move on. And Zachary, once again, I want your opinion after I tell you what it is, if you're excited, if you had any idea, or if you're interested, like, at all.
So approve or disapprove it, really.
Yes, if you guys don't know what approve or disapprove is, it's basically we'll say approve, or we'll say disapprove, or we'll say meh for audio listeners, because we gotta remember you exist. And for video, we have a thumbs up, a thumbs sideways, and a thumbs down. If we really hate something, 2 thumbs. Really like something, double thumbs, so forth and so forth. It used to be a game that we used to play every week, and then we stopped doing podcasts like that, and it was it didn't continue on. And so we like to add it in our fun little ways throughout the months and stuff. And we got to do it twice this time around, which was pretty cool. All right. If you're familiar with our podcast and been around for a long time, you already know what approve or disapprove is, because a lot of episodes will come in. All right. So we're going to talk about the comics as well. I don't want to, I don't want to exclude anything, because it's Comic-Con. Might as well mention what they're releasing. Justice League, Godzilla, and King Kong got released, that they're going to be put up against each other. How did you feel about that? Meh. I feel like that's pretty
Because
sure.
it's the Justice League versus a monster. Like,
well, it is looking like
how do you emotionally get involved in that story?
The characters are Cyborg, obviously Batman, because of course, Green Lantern, Superman, The Flash, Hawkgirl, Supergirl, and Wonder Woman.
So the Justice League.
Well, I'm just letting you know. So, because in my opinion, you have to make sure you don't just have Batman on your team, because they do have to put up a fight. Batman would just die.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, Batman. What are you gonna do? Maybe you could feed the gorilla. Maybe. I said maybe. Those start in October. In case anybody who's really excited for that, it does have a relatively release time, which is October.
The crossovers with the Justice League have been insane. Between that, Ruby, they cross over with Power Rangers. They're crossing over with everybody.
So the next thing would be Gen V, which we already talked about in the previous podcast. It got announced here with the date of September 29th. The first 3 episodes, like everything else, will drop. Those will actually drop the day before. If you do not know, for Amazon Prime, they drop at 8 p.m. the day before, but they don't say that on any other promotional stuff. It's just something that they do. So, in case that is something you're really looking forward to, you want to watch it immediately. I'm skipping Diablo stuff because we're not talking about video games. That's not what this podcast is about. Borderlands got an official release date for August 9th, 2024, which
we'll see if that sticks.
Curious about. I don't like Lionsgate. I'm not a big fan of their production company. I don't like the movies normally that they produce. They're normally pretty cheap and pretty B-movie like quality. Yeah, those are good. What? I had one good scene. Okay, you're right. Two good sections, and one okay action sequence in Oswald. But I like. And obviously, I'm excited for Eli Roth. Skip that one. Oh, Secret Invasion going to Hulu. That was a big deal. Secret Invasion also aired on ABC. Miss Marvel just got done airing its entire season on ABC.
And they showed a special from the Marvels at the end of their little thing.
Which I watched, which I thought was just okay. But you know,
But still, cool the fact that they showed him on ABC. That's really cool.
Oh, okay. I was like, why does that look so oddly familiar? And that's because you've already seen it. So we're moving on. Sorry. Harley Quinn got its release date. That's currently out in case you have Max and you want to watch it. I've yet to start the newest season, but I'm sure it's just as good as the other ones. It's the season 4, by the way.
Did you watch the Valentine's Day special?
Yeah, you did. Did you watch the episode I recommended to you? The Batman one?
No.
You need to do that. That definitely one I would highly recommend. Especially if you're looking for that Tim, like that era that you love. That's so much of like everything that you love. So
Okay, you have to send me the episode.
Yeah, I can't. I think it's like episode 8 or something of season 3. I'll have to look into it. Okay, we have the Nickelodeon rights that just got announced. They're going to be popping.
That's a huge. I don't think people understand how big of a deal that is. That is a huge deal for them to get the rights back to the Fred cartoon. That's huge.
For the what?
The creator is Fred Wolf.
Oh, is that what it is for the TMNT?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they secured the rights for all 193 episodes.
And they're releasing the first 2 seasons in September.
Yep. Zachary, Sony announced Spider-Man 2 story trailer with the console and gameplay.
I got my controller. I'm so happy.
Oh, console and PS5. And then obviously they released the trailer. I've not seen that yet, so can't talk about it.
You know what, Jacob? We're so close to the game now. Don't watch it.
I probably will. X-Men has something coming in November.
They always have something coming in November. There's always like the Fall of X, the House of X, the Dance of X. It's always something.
The Marvels premiered the official trailer at San Diego Comic-Con, which we already talked about as well, in case you guys want to. I don't know what that is. Oh, a new interactive streaming service in the Borderlands universe is coming called Borderlands Echo Vision Live, a Gen Vid interactive series. I don't know what Gen Vid is. It's interesting. Oh, Andy Samberg and Joe Turman are making a comic book. I knew that.
Which is exciting.
Called High Roller for anybody out there. November 22nd is the release date for anybody out there. Walking Dead had some very big announcements going on. They released the actual full trailer for Daryl Dixon, which was a big deal. And they also renewed Daryl Dixon and Dead City for a second season before Daryl Dixon even premiered. It premieres like Sunday?
Mm-hmm.
Next Sunday.
And then didn't they also reveal the Rick and Michonne teaser? Was that?
And then they released the Rick and Michonne teaser as well, and it's called The Ones Who Live. The official title is what it's called. I have a strong feeling that Daryl got renewed, one because people thought they were filming the second season, but because they're going to lead into either Dead City or
The Ones Who Live.
The Ones Who Live. The Ones Who Live is rumored, and that they don't plan on doing anything extra with it, and that if the characters do show up, it will be in one of these spin-off things.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll just wait and see in case if you care about Walking Dead. Internet. Not that I don't care about Rick and Morty. Do you care about Rick and Morty?
Not anymore, no.
Well, they did announce that about all that stuff, but it doesn't matter. John Wick is getting. They moved up the premiere on for September 22nd for the Continental, and it's also not coming out 3 parts like back to back. It's supposed to be daily. Now it's weekly, with the final episode airing October 6th. The trailer was okay. I liked it, but I didn't love it.
Yeah, same.
But it's definitely something I probably will watch because the action looks strong enough, like John Wick. So
I want Peacock because of Twisted Metal.
Yeah, definitely want to watch Twisted Metal.
Which I never thought I would say, but I want to watch Twisted Metal.
Then I thought I heard something behind you. Then Homelander, Peacemaker, Quan Chi, Lee Man, and more are coming to Mortal Kombat 1. That was a huge announcement.
It was big. We all knew it was coming, but the reveal of them being all together was pretty fucking cool.
Yeah, the image was real nice.
Omni-Man looks great in 3D.
New Punisher comic is coming.
Don't get too excited. They've really diminished that word.
Never mind, moving on. Invincible had two big announcements. They released something about Adam Eve. It's like her origin story, which got dropped on Comic-Con. Yeah. All right. Good.
Fantastic.
They announced that season 2 will be dropping. New episodes will be dropping on November 3rd. It'll probably be the same thing. 3 episodes on November 3rd, and then so forth and so forth.
I'm so excited.
Excited. Anybody out there worried that it will not get renewed for season 3? It was already renewed for season 3. That was a while ago, so I'm just reminding people who might not know. Did you know Crisis on Infinite Earth and Watchmen are getting animated movies?
Mm-hmm. Crisis on Infinite Earth is part of the Tomorrowverse, and Watchmen is another attempt at doing the Watchmen story again.
And Zachary, I know you love The Last Ronin, which is a TMNT. Its sequel did get announced at Comic-Con. I don't know if you heard about that. And
what's it called?
It's just The Last Ronin 2. Re-Evolution.
Heck yeah.
The first issue for you to get excited about, and maybe if you want to buy them as they come out, will be December 13th.
Heck yeah. If you've never read The Last Ronin, it's also becoming a video game. Go read The Last Ronin. It's the best Turtles thing you'll ever...
I saw something that was quite shocking from that. Someone made an animated thing for YouTube.
Oh, of a turtle sitting in front of all the weapons and him doing the old seppuku into himself? Yeah, no, it's a lot.
So I thought to myself, maybe I should read that.
I'll bring the book to you. I have the entire thing.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I would be interested.
It's really good. It's really, 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 really... Do you know who The Last Ronin is?
No.
That's awesome. That's a big deal.
So, Star Trek Lower Decks, 4th season gets September release date. It starts September 7th.
If you're a Lower Decks fan, go watch Star Trek Strange New Worlds. I won't tell you why. Just go watch Strange New Worlds because of Lower Decks. And also, if you're a Buffy the Vampire Slayer fan, a.k.a. the person sitting next to me, go watch the musical episode of Strange New Worlds because it's very similar to Buffy's musical episode. It's fantastic. It's really good. Go watch Strange New Worlds. It's one of the best things about Star Trek right now.
Oh, okay. Dragon Prince. Moving on. All right, and that's everything. The last thing is about Star Wars Outlaws, but it is all new stuff that we've already talked about.
I can't wait for that game.
It looks mid.
It takes so much to please this man.
It does. To be fair, I've just been burned too many times to really give a shit about things that might not burn me. Or glitches. I.e.
It's short and sweet. The box office is all over the place. Some movies are doing great. Some movies really aren't. It all depends on the film, really. Anyway, moving on.
No, I get it. We're doing good on time. We only have 3 left. We're doing good on time. We can talk a little bit about it.
My explanation was pretty.
I mean, but you're doing like not like really what it is.
No, Barbie's killing it. Blue Beetle is not.
Yeah. Now, I do think something to take a note. Blue Beetle did open number 1 at 27.5, but it did open number 1. It did not do very well. It probably will not earn back its money, and it probably should have went to Max. It probably would have done pretty well, like really well on Max. Cinema scores were not that great for Blue Beetle. Barbie is doing phenomenal. Oppenheimer is doing phenomenal. Transformers didn't do that well. Sorry, Zachary. It's just the honest truth. And Mission Impossible didn't do that well. It did better than Transformers, but it didn't do that well.
My poor Turtles.
Ninja Turtles is doing particularly horrible. And I have to say, I don't particularly agree with studios blaming it all on the fact that actors cannot promote their movies. I'm not saying that doesn't play a factor, but you have other movies like Haunted Mansion that had all their actors being able to promote their movies, even after the strike, because they did too much promotion beforehand. They had too much, to go around or whatever, that it didn't help at all. But we'll definitely have a true test this weekend with Gran Turismo. I don't think that movie's going to particularly do well anyways, but nobody can promote it. It's under a lot of hate fire and controversy.
Of course it is.
I didn't know, and then I learned, and I was like, oh, I can get it. I can understand why. It's interesting. Oh, I guess we could have talked about this. Never mind. Um, then, yeah. I mean, overall, the box office is actually doing pretty well. Like, I mean, money-wise, they're not doing horrible, but, like, it's still not, like, great.
We're getting there.
Like, it's like a hit every, like, 3 or 4 months. So in 3 or 4 months, let's see here, from July, what year? Oh, that means October or November. Yeah, that checks. That checks. So our next hit would be from somewhere in October or November.
From Disney or somebody, probably like Wish or maybe.
Yeah, a lot of people are actually saying that a big release movie doesn't come out until November, which I don't necessarily. I mean, I don't not agree, but I also like. I don't know.
And the
Like
only thing coming out in December is Wonka. I mean, there's nothing else coming out in December. I mean, there's no fish movie coming out in December at all.
Like, for instance, this weekend, me and my fiance are going to the movies on Sunday because it's National $4 ticket day, cinema day. So if you want to go see a movie, Sunday's a good day to go do it. Obviously, if you're seeing this in the future, like you will be, sorry guys. Hopefully, heard the news before me.
Thanks for letting me know.
But Zachary, if there's a movie that you want to go see, every format, everything, most theaters are doing it. It's $4 all day. So you can go see an IMAX movie for $4.
Man, maybe I'll finally go see Barbie. No.
Yeah.
I'm saving that reaction for Jake.
No, that's fine. You can go.
Maybe I'll go see Oppenheimer.
I mean, it's only $4, so I guess in that way I can't fight you. It's worth the $4. I will say that much. So this one, I don't have an article to pull from personally. I just want to talk about how James Gunn is personally destroying the DCU. And yeah. And also, I want to say before we get started, Zachary can put whatever comments he wants in there. I don't necessarily agree with all of them, but he can say whatever the fuck he wants. I'm just going to say this right away, just because I think it's necessary. I told you so. And that's it. I'm just, I can leave now. I did what I did. Did what I wanted. No, so he keeps sitting down with all these actors and directors and promising them nothing but wealth and greatness, and then like being like, "Ha motherfucker, swipe! Ha motherfucker, swipe!" And then after the movie box office flops, they blame it on the actor. And then he's like, "Oh, did I promise you something? I'm so sorry. Why did you make your movie flop?" And it's just like that's not how you do this. Also, so like that's like a big thing. Things I'm mentioning, we had the Zachary Levi meltdown. I think that ruined his entire career. I don't think he'll ever work again. And that was James Gunn.
That's not true. He's in Spy Kids Armageddon.
You take what you can. Yeah, I got nothing else. Then you have like the Gal Gadot situation that was going around. I do have a strong feeling there's a lot of people who do say they sat down and they had that conversation, and he did tell her they're making Wonder Woman 3 for him just to release some trades 2 days after her new movie comes out. Oh, she's lying to everybody. That's a choice. That is a choice. Or let's not forget the historical Black Adam. Taking Dwayne Johnson down. That was a bold ass move. And I don't personally agree with it. I don't think it's smart. I don't think that's the way you do business. I also agree with everybody. I think everybody at this point agrees with me. It should be a hard reboot, not this, I don't want to hurt my friends, so I'm not going to reboot everybody. And that's honestly the answer. Like, how in the world, like, I'm not mad that Gal Gadot's Wonder Woman 3 is not moving forward, because I just can't get behind a world where we're having a new Batman, we're having a new Superman, but the Wonder Woman's the same? Do they know each other? Like, what's going on here? Are they all part of the same universe? Like, no. Recast everybody. I don't want a single fucking actor the same. Your wife included. I don't mind your wife. I actually kind of liked her in Peacemaker. I think she was probably one of my favorite parts. So nothing against your wife, but she can't come back. Viola Davis can't come back either, and that does hurt my soul. Margot Robbie can't come back, but then again, I think I'm ready for like a new Lady Gaga, Harley Quinn. You know, I think I'm just ready for a change. And Margot Robbie is Barbie, and it worked out better for her. You know, Birds of Prey opened with 32 million. Barbie opened with 160 million. I mean, that's a difference. That's a difference if I say one didn't have a Christina Hansen writing it, one had Greta Gerwig, no Baumbach. I'm just saying there's differences all around. Just differences. So yeah, that's my opinion. And him going around and saying, like, for instance, Blue Beetle is the start of this brand new DC, because Shazam couldn't be the start because it failed. Flash couldn't be the start, it failed. But he went around in both trades when supporting, Shazam and in the Flash, saying, "Oh, they're definitely the start of my new DC." And then quickly, as soon as those movies became box office bombs, like fire trash, they were like, he quickly was like, "Oh, you know what? Actually, Blue Beetle is." And in a few weeks, I have a very strong feeling he's like, "Who is this Blue Beetle character you just keep talking about?" And he promised like 4 sequels. Like, did you hear about all that? Did you read all about that? Oh, okay, that's fair. That's fine. You don't have to answer. For audio people, he just flipped me off and told me I was a stupid asshole. So through sign language. So it happens.
I have no comment on this story.
Oh, that's perfectly fine. I was getting up the news article, so I just wanted you to talk.
There you go.
Oh, just a little. I mean, I just think he's handling it wrong.
I agree with you on that sense, but I also agree. I think people are judging this man way too harshly. We are barely into his reign on this stuff. He is dealing with the aftermath that he was given. Blue Beetle wasn't his movie. The Flash wasn't his movie. Shazam was not his movie.
That's great. You know what he does?
Is he wording things? No. Is he wording things incorrectly? Absolutely. Calling Blue Beetle a DCU character but not his movie is stupid, and I agree with you on that. However, I have said this since he was inaugurated within the DCU. We cannot truly judge what he wants to do with this universe until 2025 with Superman Legacy.
You know what? You're right. You really didn't really have anything to say. Okay.
Why do I even talk?
You weren't, to be fair.
I will not judge anything that he has not touched a single property in the DCEU currently.
And I'm not really talking about that. That's not really my point here. I'm talking about the promises that he is making behind the scenes and then going against them and saying in the trades that all these people are stupid.
But we're going off of their word. You're going off of Gal's word. You're going off of Jason's word. What about his word? No one's even asking him if it's from his point of view.
Okay, you're not on Twitter.
No, because it's a hate fest.
I know you're not, but James Gunn is. James Gunn is constantly on Twitter. Honestly, someone needs to take away his phone some days. Like, it's getting real bad, and he's answering all those questions that you want to answer. And his answer is, they just heard me wrong, or did that conversation happen? Whoops. Or like it's not good responses.
I'm just done talking about DC. I like DC where I'm at currently with the animation stuff, and that's where I'm staying.
Well, that's
the live action stuff is just not fun to talk about, so I don't want to be a part of it.
Well, then we shouldn't watch The Flash.
No, The Flash is important because we've talked about it enough. We need to talk about that one.
I'm just saying, if you don't want to be a part of it, yeah.
It's just, I feel like no one's giving him any time to really figure it out. He's barely done anything with it. Has he made stupid decisions? Yes, he has. Has he made stupid comments? Sure. He's still trying to figure it out. He's never been a CEO of anything, let alone given the reins. And did they give it to him too soon? Probably. But we can't judge him on projects that have nothing to do with what he wants to do. He needs to keep his big mouth shut until the end of the year. He needs to leave Aquaman alone. He needs to write that off and be done with it.
I very much agree.
And from what I understand, Blue Beetle is not a DCEU movie. They don't mention anybody from the DCEU. They mention Batman, Superman, and Flash in the movie, but it's not saying Ben Affleck's Batman, Henry Cavill's Superman.
And I'm not saying that. I'm saying that you shouldn't say, "Oh, this is the start of my." I mean, these are his actual words that he said. This is the start of my.
During his announcement for his Chapter 1, he mentioned that he liked Shazam 2. He mentioned that the Flash was going...
I'm talking about this was like weeks ago, Zachary. I'm not talking about his announcement. I'm saying in the trades, he went to like Variety or something else to help promote the movie Blue Beetle, saying that, oh yeah, everybody should go see it because this is the start of my DCU.
And he has said that since day one. He has not changed his mind about that.
Well, not yet.
Nope, and he won't.
Just saying, he has before.
He never said the Flash was part of his DCEU. He never said.
I'll send you the article. I'll send you the article.
He said the Flash restarts the timeline. He never said once that Ezra was going to be part of his universe.
I will send you the article. No, don't get frustrated.
No, it's. I just want DC to be done. I want them to just start over and be done. It's not fun to talk about.
I know.
In any aspect, it's not fun to talk about. There's nothing fun to talk about with it. And it's his fault. That's the worst part. I want to defend him, but it's his fault. He can't keep his mouth shut. It's like Donald Trump all over again.
I was going to make that comment earlier, but I felt like you were going to take it really offensively.
No, it's the truth.
You are getting really riled up, and I was like, I ain't going to push the piece. I'm just going to...
No, it's the truth. It's the truth. He can't keep his fingers off of Twitter. And I want DC to succeed more than anybody. I feel like on this podcast, I am the biggest rooter when it comes to DC.
Hey, I was a huge supporter of DC. Okay? Like, just 2 years ago, okay, if you go back to our podcast, this was a completely flipped around conversation. I was the one being like, no, Zachary, we gotta go support. We gotta go watch every single thing. And now, 2 years later, it's the opposite. One, simply because as soon as he announced, in my opinion, that it was not going to be a hard reboot, that we're not going to change everybody, we're not starting over, where everybody agreed that it's fine to start over, that the DC has been through enough, and that they need a fresh break. They need these movies to come out. Okay, that's what they need to do. Aquaman, whatever. I don't really know what to do with Aquaman, to be honest with you. But do what you gotta do. Release the movies that you're gonna release. Obviously, those were the ones that already came out, and then shut up. Don't talk about it. Leave it alone. Let it fall out of what the animated stuff come out, what the comic books and stuff come out, but what the movie seals down, what the conversation stop. Once the conversation stops, people stop bringing up the fact that they want the air cut. Him saying that, oh yeah, the air cut will eventually come out, or I want to see the air cut or something along those lines. That was a horrible comment. He should never have said that. In my opinion, that was so stupid because the air cut has not been talked about in like 2 years, and it was him who brought it up in conversation and type of thing. Like, it was just that was dumb in my opinion, because like you're bringing up old fire that does not need to be. We're past this. We are past this. We tried the Zack Snyder thing. It did not go well. Like, we love it. Anybody who watched it loved it, but it just didn't do as well as they were hoping, type of thing, and that's fine. We're moving forward. That's what we're hoping. That's what me and you both want. We both want to move forward past where the DC was at. Because I liked everything the DC was putting out for the most part. I enjoyed the storylines. I thought it was interesting. And I've heard almost every movie that they put out this year that it has sadly not done well are pretty good movies. Like, they're like really, nicely made movies. I'm a little curious about the CGI, but like, overall, like story-wise and plot-wise and stuff.
Blue Beetle is the second highest rated superhero movie of the year, and no one's talking about it. And it makes me, and that makes me genuinely upset, because everybody's just so in and down about the money thing. Yeah, I get that. That's a big part of the company. I get that. That's always been something we talk about. But no one's talking about the fact that critics love this movie. Fans are loving this movie. Is it not doing well? Yes, because right now they can't promote it. There's not enough promotion
I
for
don't
that
think
movie.
it's the promotion. I personally don't think it's the promotion. I just don't think Blue Beetle connected. I don't think it has
Clearly, it did.
no. Clearly it did not. If it connected, it would have a bigger audience. I mean, that's the honest answer.
I don't know what people want from him. I don't know what people want from DC. Honestly, I don't.
I mean, I'm telling you, people want to get away from what it was. They
Then
want it to
stop
not be.
talking to Gal. Then stop talking to Ben. Stop talking to Ezra.
Yeah, no, I definitely do agree. I definitely do agree. If you ask questions about it, they will surely answer. Even though
They
Ben
will.
Affleck has been very clear that he is done.
Done.
Gal Gadot is not done. She does not want to be done. But she
She'll
is
fight
also.
tooth and nail, but she needs to get over it.
Zachary Levi needs to get over it. These are people who need to get over it because the moral of the story is you didn't. And that's the thing. Yes, there's plenty of movies out there that are amazing, that are phenomenal, that don't do well, but they are phenomenal, and we talk about them, and we try,
Dread.
we try really, really hard to shout those ones out and say, hey, you should watch this because no one else did, so you should watch it, type of thing. Sometimes I try to show you a movie, you try to show me a movie
I
or
went on a
whatever.
20-minute rant in the first episode of July talking about my adventures with Superman. No
Exactly.
one's watching that show, but I'm telling people to go watch it because it's Superman and it's good.
Exactly. That's my thing. So we are doing the part that we need to do, but the moral of the story here is if Blue Beetle is amazing, and it could be, I haven't seen it, to be fair. I don't know. And I mean, the trailers they looked good. They didn't look amazing to me, but it looked like a very good movie that I was trying to be, a very good message movie that I was trying to be. And to be fair, that's what supposedly the director set out to do. Then and things, and that's good. That's what we need. There hasn't been a Latino superhero ever before, and you do what you gotta do. And I've heard nothing but good things. The reviews were good, whole 9 yards. But the moral of the story here is, if it just needs to be shown that this is something that they want. This is something that people want to see, and that's what's happening. Is that we are sending a message. The audience is sending a message to who is the CEO. That's why I bring his name up. James Gunn and Peter Safran. This is not what we want. We want something different. That's why they bring up the money, because that is how we as an audience
And it's
member send the
showing.
message.
And it's showing. That's how you stop these conversations. Shazam failed. Flash failed. Blue Beetle failed. Aquaman 2 is going to fail. Yeah. I am saying, no, and people are like, you're just saying that because you're mad at it right now. No, I'm not. I'm saying it because it's fact. People do not care. It is showing in the money right now. People went and saw Ant-Man and the Wasp, Quantumania more than any three of these movies combined. It's just factual. Whether you hate what's going on with Marvel right now or not, people are still watching Marvel's content. That's all there is to it. DC, whether it be animated or not, is not being watched because there is no care right now in that brand. And it's clearly showing they are relying too much on two people, Superman and Batman, and that is their biggest flaw.
Is why I said if he just be quiet and he doesn't make all these things, which is why I named it James Gunn Promises Gone Wrong. That's why I chose the title that I chose. If he would just be quiet and let the movies come out, promote the movies the way he has to, because he's CEO. These are movies, that technically will have his name on it because that he owns this section of the company, whole 9 yards or whatever. Peter Safran was a producer on Blue Beetle. I mean, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But you promote the movie, you do what you can to help people get the message out to go see the movie, and then you shut up and you're like, okay, losses are losses. That's fine. I have Superman Legacy coming out, but you shouldn't go promote that. You shouldn't be like, oh my gosh, Superman Legacy is coming out in 2025. No, you be quiet. You let time pass. You let room. Like, for instance, Star Wars had $3 billion pictures back to back to back. And they decided, oh God, something's wrong here, and pulled.
We still haven't had a movie since then.
And that was 2019. It is 2023. We still have yet to have a movie. I don't know the next time we'll have a Star Wars movie. Every time they make one, they decide, nah, that's okay. But and so they're doing it in other ways or whatever. And Star Wars is still, part of the conversation, and it continued to be part of the conversation. But you understand what I mean? Like
Yeah.
they had box office success. There was literally, except for Solo, and they could have just wrote off Solo just being, oh, people didn't connect with it, whatever. They connected with these. We can make another one of these, and they decided full stop.
I think people still forget that Zack Snyder's DC universe, whether you like it or not, was not financially successful. There was only one film in that universe that was financially successful,
Two,
and it was a fluke, and that was Aquaman.
three.
Aquaman is the only Aquaman is the only DCEU movie to make $1 billion.
Yeah, but I would say anything in the 800s was successful, in my opinion, and so you can count Batman vs Superman and Wonder Woman. Everything else was
Warner
not.
Brothers still counts Batman vs Superman a failure because it did not make $1 billion. Batman vs Superman should have made $1 billion. It should have not made 800. It should have made $1 billion.
No, I definitely do agree. It should have made $1 billion. We've been talking about this ever since the movie came out. Wonder Woman was a success. It was not privy to make $1 billion. Wasn't wanting to make $1 billion, and it made. That's why they made a sequel.
And then the stuff they've put out since then, either you're with it or you're not. You're not with James Gunn's stuff. We've talked about this. You did not like the Suicide Squad, and you did not like Peacemaker. So it is hard for you. I think it's hard for you as an audience member to get behind James Gunn with DC in general because his past 2 projects you have not liked. Am I right in that sense?
Yeah, I guess.
So it's just they need to figure out what they want to do. The Suicide Squad is a great movie. Peacemaker to me is a fantastic show. They should leave them alone and move on. It's just
I do agree.
James is making too many promises too quickly. And I agree with what you say. James Gunn's promises have gone wrong. They have. But I feel like he will keep Giotto on as Blue Beetle because even though financially it is not doing well, audiences do enjoy the character of Blue Beetle. The movie, possibly not, but the character was well-rounded enough and his family was well-rounded enough to where audiences enjoy him as a character. They can bring him over as a character, but they need to address the movie situation. And Superman Legacy needs to be stopped talking about until we get closer to the end of the year next year, which is why I keep telling everybody we have a year off come next year. We have a year off from DC. Minus cartoons, we have a year off from film. There's nothing coming out next year except for Joker. Except for Joker.
A ton.
Tremendously. There will be no major news, no major box office talk, anything except for Joker next year.
But I do also I will have to say this much. And this is I'm not saying anything bad per se, okay? But I will say in order for this to work, this reboot, this thing to hope we get DC back in its good graces, to help people like find love again in it. And I'm gonna say the same thing about Marvel. Marvel is taking a very clear stop. They are putting their foot down. And if that's Kevin Feige's choice or Bob Iger's, it does not really matter. I'm just happy they're doing it because we can all agree Marvel is not dead. Marvel is they're in a bad place, but they're definitely salvageable. They're in the perfect place where they take some time off, figure out what they really need to change.
It's a great way to bring them back. And Deadpool 3 is a great way to bring them back.
Figure out what they need to change, figure out what's not working, figure out what is working, and figure out what model they need to go towards. And I think Marvel will be fine. Also cut back on the content. One, we can tell you're choosing quantity over quality.
Yes.
It has become very apparent, and we want quality over quantity. I would rather have 2 TV shows a year, 2 movies a year, if that's what you want to give me, 1 movie a year, 1 TV show a year. I don't really care over 8 TV shows a year, 4 movies a year.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care if you have 17 teams working on each movie and it's all gonna be great. I still don't want it because I'm not cut back. And they're doing that. That's exactly what they're doing, and that's what they should do. DC, I love them, and I have nothing against them. Joker is one of my favorite movies of all time. You know this. The Batman is one of your favorite movies of all time. I know this. They need let them have their sequels. Joker 2, obviously. Obviously, one could debate Joker 2 even should have ever been made.
It shouldn't have.
I'm excited for Lady Gaga, but I very much see the argue in both camps for that movie. The Batman, obviously, I do think deserves a sequel. Have it Batman Part 2. Obviously, the Penguin's too far down. You can't really shelve that. So let the Penguin come out. But everything else in this universe, if I was CEO, if I was the one trying to make all these really hard decisions, I would not greenlight another Elseworlds story. Not until we are super strong with our current world, the current thing that we're trying to get people excited about. Because the
Because
moral
then
of the story here is people are getting excited for Joker 2. People are going to be like, this is the best DC movie, let's say, ever made or whatever, right? Say it's another Joker phenomenon. Came out the perfect time, whole 9 yards. Well, here's the thing. Joaquin Phoenix, Lady Gaga are not Harley Quinn and Joker. They are, but they're not going to be the ones you're going to be seeing on a regular basis. And so ultimately, all you're going to do is piss off fans.
and the same thing with Pattinson.
Robert Pattinson is Batman. I agree. He is the best Batman we've had in years.
And him and Cornsweet would be great together, but that's not our Batman and Superman.
Yeah, I mean they would be phenomenal. I would love to have seen that movie. And you have your own opinions, I have my own opinions, and that is fine. But because Matt Reeves wanted to not go down that route, which is fine, that's your choice. You made that executive choice. They offered him, and then he said, no, I don't want that, which is fine. That's what your choice is. But you have to live with the consequences, and the consequences is you have to go on a very long break. You get to release the Batman Part 2 and nothing else.
Because there can't be 2 separate Batman films in theaters at the same time.
Batman Part 2 and the Batman the Brave and the Bold. Because here's the thing, they're going to go up against one another, and 96% of people are going to choose the Batman Part 2 as a sequel to a well-loved movie to something brand new like the Batman Brave and Bold. Random shit for 10 minutes, Zachary. Just
it is random shit, but I'll continue this because I want to apologize to the audience, and Jacob can't hear me right now either, but I want to apologize to him as well. When it comes to this DC in particular, Marvel, I think me and Jacob can be pretty even on when it comes to this stuff. We both want DC to succeed. That's a key thing here, is that we both want DC to succeed. Again, I ranted for 20 minutes about how good my Adventure with Superman is. And I will hold by that. And again, the Tomorrowverse as well, I think has been fantastic. But what I think a year off from any major DC universe films is a good thing, because we don't need any more attention on them that they don't already have. Frankly, it's embarrassing that it's still part of the conversation. The Snyder Cut is continuously brought up. The Air Cut is being brought up again because of James. And I really wanted this year for James to just be like, hey, I made a great Marvel movie to finish off myself with Marvel Guardians, and you did. I love your movie. I really do. But I don't want to hear about your new Batman film. I don't want to hear about Swamp Thing. I don't want to hear about any of this. We are not ready. We are too far from what you want. 2025, you set your time for 2025. You could have easily put Superman, well, not anymore, but Superman could have easily come out next year, and that would have helped a lot. But you've put your place down as 2025 for your Superman movie. Next year, you have all year to talk about it. All year to talk about it, to get ready for it. And, I'm excited to see what you're going to do. But I'm telling you guys right now, telling you, if Superman Legacy fails in any way, shape, or form, I don't know what DC is going to do. They have now tried this reboot twice. And to me, Marvel is an anomaly. It's always been an anomaly. Phase 1 of the MCU is an anomaly because it should have not worked. It shouldn't have, but it did. And it continued and continued, and then we got Endgame. And that's where we are now. I mean, you guys can clearly see the poster back there. I love that movie. I love that movie to pieces. What's next to them? Heath Ledger's Joker. I love DC. But they make it hard for me and other viewers as defenders of the DC universe when you don't know what you're going to do with your brand, and it makes it very difficult to work with. And so I want more than anything in this world for DC to be successful. I really do. But it's like I said, if Superman Legacy fails in 2025, I don't know what DC's going to do.
I feel like
they put way too much pressure. They put way too much pressure on James this early, and I think that's why he's so sporadic right now. I think they put too much pressure on him, and they gave him the keys to the city way too early. This should have been a 2024 thing for him to announce, for his announcements as CEO. Let the rest of DC come out the rest of this year, and then say, hey, that was DC then. James Gunn's our new CEO. What's he got in store for you? Let's talk about it towards the end of the year. And then, boom, you move into Superman Legacy. Why they had to announce everything that fast, I don't know.
It was because of stocks. I mean, that's really what it came down to. It was stocks and things. That was the reason why. And because they had to get the old person out right away because of all the behind-the-scenes stuff.
And so I think that will ultimately burn them in the end. If Superman Legacy fails, it burns them in the end. So, okay, alrighty. But I mean, there's nothing else they can do. We can move on from it now because I don't know if you heard me, but I wanted to apologize to you and I apologize to the audience. I was frustrated there for a second. I'm not gonna lie.
I said, let's keep a civilized conversation, and you very quickly changed your tone and everything, and it worked out fine. To be fair, I'm tired, and so I was a little more pushy than I think I would normally have been if I wasn't tired, and so that also played a factor into it. So I also, this is us being. You asked for brothers. This is me apologizing as well for pushing you into a conversation that you obviously didn't want to be a part of to begin with. And so I do apologize. I do think you had a lot of nuanced things to say, though. And I do think we got down to the root of what you actually wanted to say as well. And so I think overall it was a good
I agree with I agree with what you're saying.
I am tired, so I came off probably a lot more aggressive than even once again I would normally come off of.
But I do agree with you when it comes to most things. He is being too aggressive. He is answering questions too fast. He needs to tone it down. 2024 will be your year, James. Be patient. It'll happen. 2024 will be your year. Just be patient.
I'd say look at other CEOs like Bob Iger and things, even though that's much different. But other people, or Kevin Feige. Kevin Feige is a mysterious man. I couldn't even tell you if I've heard his voice before in my life. I don't even know. I'm sure I have. That's a good thing. But that's what I mean. You know what I mean? Use that as an example for moving forward.
James is too open.
Yeah.
And I think that's the biggest issue is that it's a con and a pro all at the same time. I love the fact that he is so open with us when it comes to this stuff, but it's also a con in that he's also giving all this different information and then we get pissed off for no reason. Find your common ground.
All right, moving on to the final story. That was a very heavy story we just talked about. To be fair, that's part of the reason why I did leave it to the very end, because I knew it could possibly cause some friction. And now we're going to end on something that can't cause friction because we can't do anything about it. And that is Sony delays everything. And by delays everything, they literally delayed
everything.
Everything. And so I'm going to run through the dates. We're going to talk if we like the new dates, if we think it will work out. And then we'll go into our final segment and call the podcast a day. Cool?
Cool.
All right. I'm going to try to do this relatively fast as well. So keep that in mind when answering the questions that are asked. And I'll keep that in mind as well as best my brain can handle. So we had two new things that were newly dated. So I did want to mention those because they were also on this list of movies. Untitled Bad Boys sequel. So Bad Boys number 4. I don't know why it's untitled. It's definitely maybe called Bad Boys 4. Either way, it got dated for June 14th, 2024. I think that's a fine date as far as a weekend. I think yeah.
Cool.
Hey, Zachary. Bad Boys 3 overall was not the best movie in the world, but that third act.
Yeah, no, that's cool. They missed an opportunity with titles.
Oh, by not.
What's Bad Boys called? What's Bad Boy 3 called? Bad Boys for Life.
Oh yeah, well then Bad Boys 4 could also. It's untitled, so they still have time to title.
No, but Bad Boys 3 was called Bad Boys for Life, so you can't call Bad Boys 4 Bad Boys for Life.
Oh, that's interesting.
You see what I mean?
I don't think they were expecting to make another. And by the end of that one, I can also agree. I don't really think they like had any intention of making another. I think it just did much better than they thought they were going to like to. And Will Smith was like, "Oh, I do need something."
Everybody else dropped me. Well, hey, Martin Lawrence, let's go shoot a gun.
Martin Lawrence is like, "I don't really. How much? Oh, okay,
sure."
Sorry, that was bad, but also like kind of not untrue. Okay, Untitled Venom sequel will come out on July 12th, 2024. Maybe that could change because of everything going on right now. It really depends on when they start filming.
I want Venom in October. I want Venom in October.
I don't love
that's
July.
Where it fits well.
Don't love July. I will say this much. I do hope they cave and make this one rated R. We've had a few sequels now.
You're asking for too much.
I'm not. I'm only saying I'm not because we are having Craven come out, and Craven is going to be rated R, and I think that's good enough for me to be like, you can do Venom now, bitches. Also, like, if they could be gay together, that'd be fine too. But like, it's fine. I'm asking for a lot.
Jake.
I'm asking for a lot.
Venom 3 will be rated PG-13 for all audiences to enjoy.
Well, I can rest assured that Venom will be gay. He had his own coming out moment in Venom 2.
It's such a great moment.
So many moments. Just saying. They confirmed it. I have confirmation.
Anyway.
Eddie Brock might be, but Venom sure is, and he absolutely loves being. Never mind. So, Gran Turismo, ironically, is coming out on Friday, on the date I was recording this, but it got moved from August. It originally was going to come out August 11th, and now the weekends 11th and 18th had like not free, but fan screenings, and officially comes out August 25th, which is the weekend that we're recording this. So we'll see if it does well. By the time you see this, the world knows. We don't, but the world does. How did it do?
Let us know.
So, then Madame Web got moved from February 16th to actual February 14th for Valentine's Day. An interesting thing did come out that Sydney Sweeney's character is playing Spider-Woman, which I thought was really interesting.
I could give two shits about this movie. Whether it comes out or not, it's cool.
I'm so excited for Madame Web. That's like one of my most anticipated Spider-Man movies.
I'm going to tell you everybody why he's excited for Madame Web. Dakota Johnson, Sydney Sweeney, can I go on? Emma Roberts. Are you excited for the concept of Madame Web?
No,
the actors.
No, it's like they decided let's make a gay man's dream, and they did. And you know what? I'm there. I'll be there. I'll be right there. I'll be right there opening night. That's what I'm seeing for Valentine's Day next year. Yes, it is.
Does Dwayne know that?
He does not, but he'll learn. So, the Untitled Ghostbusters sequel.
Mm-hmm.
Oh gosh, got moved from December 20th, which I think was a too rough of a date anyway. So I'm okay with the move.
It made sense if you understand what the movie is about. Them being in December made sense.
Now they're coming out for Easter, so hopefully it's about Jesus.
It's gonna be a Christmas film at Easter time. Well, that kind of still works. Synergy.
They're all about Jesus. It's all good. Praise to Christ.
I'm excited. I'm excited for that movie. I like Afterlife. I'm ready for another one.
Tag me to the star. So, Spider-Man Beyond the Spider-Verse.
Such a different vibe from the last story.
Spider-Man Beyond the Spider-Verse just got removed. no longer is a part of anything.
Anybody freaks out, they didn't cancel the film. They just don't know where to put it currently.
Yeah, they had said due to the strikes, they don't even want to even think about dating it until the strikes are over.
2028. That's my date. That's my year is 2028.
Kraven the Hunter, we're moving on from that. moved from October 6th, just a few months from now, to August in August 30th, which is over a year away. So either massive reshoots are upon the way because they heard that
Or
we
it's
don't
just
want.
that bad.
No, I heard nothing but great things from like early reviews, like not early reviews, but like test screenings and stuff. But I do wonder if they're like, oh, they really didn't like the fact that we decided to make him get superpowers from one. Maybe we should change that. Oh shit, that's our whole movie. Give us a year, we'll figure it out.
Figure it out. Go put Venom 3 in there, we'll be fine.
So Karate Kid comes out from originally June 7th, now comes out December 13th. Which I think it's a fine release date for that movie. I think June was a better release date.
Huh? Is this Jaden Smith Karate Kid or is this
we don't
Cobra
know.
Kai Karate Kid?
I don't know. It's a good question. I just have names, just have titles, nothing else. This is not as a beautiful one as Mattel was. Where direct references.
Magic 8 Ball.
Who knows?
Let the good times roll.
They listen.
I'm just giving you puns.
I'm just moving on. They listen. I have no idea. It's a Blumhouse horror film called They Listen. Originally slated for August 30th of next year. Also has been released from the slate completely.
They're creating a trilogy without creating a trilogy. Talk to Me, They Listen. The final one of that trilogy is They Spoke.
Well, other than the fact that Talk to Me was A24, but you're doing great.
But it's a funny little thing there. Talk to Me, They Spoke, They Listen.
We're moving forward. What have we been watching?
Justified and My Adventures with Superman.
And
Rebels.
Critical Role, Big Brother, and some Star Wars if I can handle it.
If I can handle it.
It's not a lot. I hate to say it.
Once again, I want to give everybody a happy Ahsoka Day. Enjoy your time with Ahsoka. Get your popcorn ready. Get your lightsaber sodas and get ready to go.
Just remember, Ahsoka has probably been out for about 3 to 4 weeks, and hopefully it's good. That's all. It's not Ahsoka Day. Unless you watch this happen to be on a Tuesday, which, comes out on Monday, so good for you. Then maybe it is an Ahsoka Day for you. It's just not technically premiere day like it is today. That's all. That's all, folks. That would equal an outro from you, not like a huff and a puff.
And I'll blow this outro out. Thank you guys very much for watching. Thank you guys very much for watching.
Can't hear you. Shut the fuck up.
Thank you guys very much for watching. Make sure to like, rate, subscribe, hit that comment section, ring-a-ling, that ding-a-ling button. Let us know you've been here. Huh?
Like you blew the house, you're going to blow that ding-a-ling?
Oh, shush. And as always, let us know what you guys' favorite or more interesting story was in the comment section. And we'll see y'all next time. Thank you guys very much. Goodbye. Da, 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 da.